So there are some drug effects that we actually are trying to get, right, when we administer or take drugs. And these are generally, when it's in a clinical setting, these are known as the therapeutic effects of these drugs. So for example, if we take a drug like codeine, right? Codeine has a number of, clinically useful, therapeutic effects, including pain relief, right? And the sort of technical term for pain relief is analgesia. Cough suppression, right? Which is, you can get, for example, Robitussin with codeine. It turns out that there's some controversy actually over the overall effectiveness of codeine in terms of suppressing cough. And there are, some natural remedies actually, like for example, honey, that are actually quite, effective in terms of producing this sort of therapeutic effect of cough suppression. It also has anti-diarrheal effects. So anybody who's traveled abroad might take Imodium, for example, to try to counteract diarrhea. Now, these are the therapeutic effects of a drug like codeine that you actually wish to obtain. And they are obtained because codeine is actually converted in the body, in the liver actually, into morphine. And morphine then travels through the blood, and we'll talk about how drugs reach their targets, but ultimately it interacts with a receptor, an opioid receptor, that's located in cell membranes and its specific neurons in the central nervous system, and produces its effects. It also produces some side effects, and the side effects are those effects that you don't necessarily wish to obtain, right? And these include, for example, with codeine, itching, nausea and vomiting, drowsiness, dry mouth. You can go too far in your antidiarrheal efforts and become constipated. There can be a sudden drop in blood pressure as a result of codeine in some individuals, and also respiratory depression. And again, this is listed here as a side effect of codeine, or of morphine as well. But in some cases, it may be one of the intended or therapeutic effects. For example, in individuals who are seeking to end their lives when they're suffering from sort of end-stage terminal disease. So this is basically a summary of some of the drug effects that can be affected by drug action.